Same. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Ready. All right. Call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission on Monday, February 10th. And roll call can show that commissioners are present except for Alex Brannon. Do we need to go through one by one and sound off? All right. And we also do have a quorum. So if I could have a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I move to accept it as written.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, agenda is approved. So this is a special meeting, and one of the first things we wanted to talk about is
Repeat that.
approve the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if we need another couple minutes to read our last minutes. It's been a while since we've met, May 18th, 2023.
Wow, that long ago.
Time flies. I know.
Every place I see my name, I wonder if I'm in trouble.
But if you have a chance, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Or if there are any suggestions for modifications.
Well, I'll move that we accept them as written.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. So next action item is to discuss and select when our next meetings. Now, historically, we've met the third Thursday of every month. So questions I would like to propose or throw out there is, do we need to continue to meet monthly? Is there an alternative evening? Because I know probably December through March, I have often conflicts with Thursday nights. And so I would hate to miss multiple meetings if we kept at the same time. Again, we could go to bi-monthly, we could go to quarterly, we could go to day meetings. However, it is in, I don't know, it's not really the charter. It's the, in our
Yeah,
the ordinance that we do meet, so that would have to be changed.
right. And I think the soonest we could get the dates officially changed would be at the March Historic Planning Commission, or City Council meeting. So we'd probably still need to, if you were gonna have a meeting in March, we'd probably still need to note that up as a special meeting, but then we could get the code, we could have an ordinance prepared for the code to be revised, and then the corresponding resolution of the council to change your meeting dates, to set a new regular meeting date for you, so. And you could still, I mean, if you wanted to schedule them on a special meeting, and like we're doing now, you could, if that's allowed. There's been a little bit of a push, largely coming out of the pandemic, to try to get public agencies and their appointed and elected bodies meeting more on their regular scheduled basis. Because the minute you have a special meeting, nobody shows up, and then somebody wants to attend a meeting and they can't, right? So it's good to have the regular meeting and try to follow that schedule if you can, but you also have special meeting rights as well, so.
And I think there was an example of the tree commission right, in the, the ordinance that they just call special meetings when they wanna meet, so.
Yeah.
I mean, we could follow that, or we could select another day and time to meet.
I think we left so many things on the table
Yeah.
I need to address. So I'd rather go with a regular schedule. And
Monthly.
this is a nice time. Does this work for you with school?
Yeah, typically day would typically work better because of childcare issues. We wouldn't have to, since Alex and I both are married with the same children. It would work better for us for childcare to have it during the day.
I like this time.
I
Yeah.
do too.
It's good.
And I don't feel like exhausted mentally. I feel like I could actually.
Right.
I would be open to like quarterly meetings with the idea that we would then hold special meetings when we need to talk about things. That might be a way to kind of like, because when we hold regular meetings, I don't think we meet regularly during the summer months usually anyway. So there are things that maybe disrupt it anyway. So it might be worth looking at doing quarterly with special meetings kind of more often to discuss specific topics. But I say that in like, if we also want to meet regularly, I'm fine with that as well.
Like Barbara said, we have so much that was left hanging. And then again, the resource guide that people are chomping at the bit to get. For sure, we should meet next month as a special meeting. And then, I don't know, if we meet quarterly, it's kind of like we don't have enough going on, where we actually do have quite a bit. So maybe every other month until we start to get rolling again. That might work. And then we could do the Thursday night starting in April. Would that work?
Well, we probably need to pick a day and a time to be consistent.
Yeah,
And
okay,
then we could, but it could be like Thursday at 2
okay,
every other month.
yeah, I like
And then
that.
set special meetings as needed if there are additions to the local register that we have to review, or a special project where we need to, finalize the resource guide or something like that, that would be outside of those meeting times.
And with special meetings, those can even have their own agenda, right? So if we wanted to have a special meeting where we were just looking at the resource guide and kind of getting that up on its feet and didn't have to discuss anything else, that might also be a good use of our time, because then we don't have to spread ourselves as thin and we can kind of tackle these special issues full on.
Yeah, your only restriction with a special meeting is you're locked into whatever's on the agenda for you. You have to identify your action items on the
In-
agenda.
The month before, like in advance.
For 24 hours.
Oh.
OPMA is 24 hours. Yours has 48 hours in it. So yeah.
Brian, what is your schedule in this building? Is Monday a good day?
This actually works pretty well for me, yeah. One of the things I talked to the mayor about is we have a third-year law student who's interning for us, and we've hired her to become an associate in the fall. And this was one of the projects I wanted to bring her along and just start seeing how public agencies work without a lot of audience necessarily. I know Monday afternoons, she's got a class on Monday afternoons, but we talked about next month if it's something she could skip the class and come in and be a part of it, I would probably have her join us as well. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
it's important what your schedule works. It's your meeting, but Monday afternoons work really well for me. At 2, I've got a standing meeting every day or every Monday at noon that typically runs until about 1:15. It's my partner meeting at the firm, which I'd love to miss if I could. But you miss that and you become the managing partner. So I don't want to do that.
So do you want to keep the Thursday at 6 o'clock for a regular meeting time, or are we?
Necessarily.
So
really
it sounds like we're all in agreement on not
So-
Thursday at
Yeah,
6.
Thursday, not the
So we-
evening.
Yeah, so we can ask city council to approve the second Tuesday, the second Monday of the month at 2 o'clock is our preferred time for regular meetings, or does that?
It can be either any Monday you want, like,
That's
it
okay.
doesn't have to be the second
Oh, okay.
one, we just happened to do it today
Yeah.
because this day was the first available we could fine for everyone.
Right.
But it could
So
be anywhere.
that's just to change the ordinance so that we stick to that.
Yeah, and you'd still have your special meeting options as well.
Okay,
So this conversation is to change the frequency of or the time and possibly frequency of our regular
Possibly.
schedules.
Yeah. The good part about having a regular meeting is you can show up and you can change your agenda in the middle of the meeting if something comes up that you want to address. It's setting the meeting schedule on a regular meeting basis gives the public knowledge that you're scheduled to meet that day, and anything that you have jurisdiction to handle could come before you, whereas the special meeting, you have restrictions.
Oh,
So-
okay.
that's good.
I think we have enough to work on that we should be meeting once a month. And that second Monday at 2:00 sounds very good.
Okay, second Monday of each month at 2:00. I'll get those started. Of course, we have the city council meeting tomorrow night, and the agenda's already
That's-
gone out, so
That's the, yeah.
So
That's
we'll-
that's the only thing I was wondering about.
Yeah, so
and
we'll
see
note
if I
this.
wanna back to back.
I see. If we
But
wanted
it
to
doesn't
do
really
a-
affect me really, because I'm just running the equipment, because you guys do your own minutes, correct? Someone does
I
that.
thought there was a little
No.
machine that's doing that.
There was a
No, we
template.
did
There's
have,
no.
yeah, we did have a designated secretary, which was Barbara, but it was difficult for her to, well, we talk a lot. And it's hard to keep track of all that, so that was something that Denise,
Oh,
Christina was having, was that
Denise
Denise?
was creating them, yeah.
So
Oh.
she was generating the
I
minutes
was
from the
unaware of that.
recording.
I thought Barbara was doing them. The whole time
Not
I
for the
was
last
involved.
couple of years.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because we
Okay.
had that extra staff help that Christina was getting. Denise eventually gonna take over our commission meetings.
It seemed like there was a template that was just kind of plug in, different things that we said, so somewhere, that's somewhere.
Not really, no, but, yeah. No. I do the minutes for all the other ones, so, yeah, no, there's not
Okay,
really templates, so.
okay.
So would the different Monday of the month be?
It is, but, yeah, it is. I just wasn't aware that that was going to be it.
Is there any concern with Mondays, cause there is a lot of like federal holidays, so there might be a lot of meetings
Oh,
that
yeah.
get skipped.
It's the only, yeah, that's why the city council moved from Mondays years ago to Tuesdays because of that, yeah.
But that's the third Monday, like.
Well, it depends, I mean,
Any Monday, it can be any Monday.
yeah,
Oh,
it'll just be like observed, yeah, like President's Day or
Martin
Veterans
Luther King.
Day or.
Yeah, to make a 3-day week.
Memorial Day.
Which is at the end.
Indigenous Peoples' Day.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, or just be those three.
I think Washington.
I think you did have, maybe President's Day might be the only one that you might hit on this
Yeah.
calendar.
Actually, the second Monday wouldn't be probably bad, you're probably right.
Okay.
Because Memorial Day is gonna be probably the first one, usually the first.
Well, when those Mondays happen, can we just have a special meeting that month then?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happens if we need to change a regular meeting day or time? What's the process?
We just note up a special meeting, and yeah, if there was, you couldn't have a quorum, if there was insufficient numbers to hold a meeting on your regular meeting schedule, we just note up a special meeting when everybody could attend.
So Lisa, are you saying that we'd rather not do minutes, or that we need to find someone in our commission to help prepare minutes?
I don't know. The direction of whoever tells me what to do. I am currently fairly spread quite thin. But I don't know, I just was not aware. I thought that all he would be doing would be running machines. And I was gonna probably have Daniel do that on a regular basis, run the machines. But I'm not sure.
When does the intern come?
Yeah, I know, I
I'm not sure
know.
they're gonna be doing
Yeah.
minutes. I don't think she's gonna be doing
No.
minutes.
It's a good experience, but I can't write that fast, so.
So, yeah, I don't know how that will work. I would have to ask I was not aware that Denise was doing minutes. when Christina was doing it, I knew that somebody on the commission was, so that's what my understanding was. I will have to clarify
You have enough to
with
do,
that.
so.
I keep rough minutes of actions and discussion on my, we'll have
Yeah,
enough
I
to
mean,
get
I-
minutes
I-
on this one,
yeah.
so, yeah.
I have a recording
Mm-hmm.
and I record everything, but, yeah,
Yeah.
I can figure
And,
that out.
okay, and then I can work with you guys to see if we need to designate someone or if we can just do that with the three of us working on it, or like
Okay,
I'm setting the agenda and can help review a minute draft before we finalize it and do any,
yeah, but I'll have to
editing and
enter it,
stuff like
I'll have to
that.
enter it into our new system that's going to publish it onto the websites. And so that's the other thing that I'm doing is the minutes and the packet and the agenda have to be entered into the Civic Plus software to be able to go to the website to be posted on the website. So, I mean, you can set the agenda and give it to me, but I'll have to put it into the format.
so we can work that out.
Yes.
One thing I would also ask, that I know that we're appointed to the commission on staggered terms, and I don't know, since it's been almost 2 years since we've met, if who needs to be reappointed or what our terms are,
Okay. I
if
can
we're
get that.
expired. Does this meeting still work if we're expired? for some
Yeah.
reason? I mean,
I would just reappoint you.
Retroactive.
Involuntary. Yeah,
Sure.
so we've got 3-year terms, for each of you staggered, so.
And I know mine was I thought mine was October, so I probably am getting ready. I'm probably still on, because I think I was just reappointed before, but I'm not sure about anybody else, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, honestly.
Yeah,
I
we
might
need to look
be
into
right
that.
at 3 years. Me and Alex, because we were both appointed the same month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been in 2022.
Answer right
This is right, yeah.
I mean,
It'll be 23 when we start meeting.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we'll look at it after.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, get that confirmed.
So just to clarify, are we still thinking the second Monday? Or does this discussion, do we need to look at a different date or something just to maybe ease
That's
burden on
second,
staff?
actually, that might work.
I
Okay.
like second Monday.
Okay,
So if we do want to meet next month, March, then we need to set it as a special meeting. So we could still choose the second Monday at 2:00,
Yep.
but we'll just make it a special meeting.
And when do we need to choose that agenda or decide that agenda?
48 hours.
yeah, 48 hours in advance, yeah. Did you want to tentatively schedule it for that second Monday in
March 10th.
March 10th? Okay. I'll just put it on my calendar, and if we change it, we change it.
Yep, we'll keep it monthly.
We have stuff to do.
Any other discussion about the frequency, when we hold our meetings, anything like that? Think we're good?
Yeah, we said monthly, right?
Pardon?
We said monthly, okay.
Okay.
Good.
All right, next discussion item is the Central Business District streetlights. And I know, again, Christina probably brought us a couple of things just to look at. I don't think it was really something that we were part of our work plan. Was there thought for you or the mayor for us to give our opinions on
No,
that, or-
he wanted me to ask if you guys had done that. If you guys had, if that was something you and Christina, you guys had worked on, and I could not remember. So
Okay.
that's why I put those examples in
Oh,
there.
that's good.
I since reached out to Matt Gillis from Ochcomer to see if he had any recollection of that. And he did have something that he and Christina had emailed, I guess, back and forth. So I guess maybe there was, I don't, maybe that was with the planning commission and not historic. I could not remember, that was a long time ago.
I know that in our meetings, we were talking about historic street signs. So
There you
having
go.
designated street signs for the historic district, that would have a special flavor to it.
Gotcha.
And I know Christina was doing research on the street lamps, but I don't think that we looked at them or gave an opinion or anything like that.
Okay, perfect.
But if that's something you guys want, let us know.
Okay. I think I will reach out then again to Matt to see for sure what he and Christina had spoke about. I just wanted to touch base with you guys and see if that was anything you guys had in the works, so we weren't,
Okay.
So
messing
where
anything
did
up.
these come from?
I don't know. It was in a file I found
Okay.
on the V drive, and that's kind of why I put it in there. I thought it might jog some memory
Yeah,
and see if it was anything that looked even somewhat familiar to you. I'm not sure where
Well,
they came from.
I have no memory of these, but
Okay.
I do have an opinion.
Okay.
Well, I guess the first, and I'm not as familiar with historic photographs of our downtown area as you guys are with the history enthusiasts, but was there a design or were there streetlights back in the day that
Yeah.
we should try to recreate or?
The only thought I had was this is similar to the lights on the trail,
Uh-huh.
where the light,
Oh,
thrown down
yes.
in the pools of light.
Oh.
And it's so pretty,
Yeah.
And
but that's just,
something with a down facing light too, if people are worried about light
Yes,
pollution for
yes.
looking at the
Good
sky. That's
Yeah.
something that I think people have been moving to do is
Yes.
not have.
Right.
But-
Okay, good.
that's
Okay,
ways to.
Thank you. That's all I was asking for, was first just to make sure we were okay on that one.
The flower,
So that was a quick one.
the flower baskets might bring up some discussion.
Oh,
Who's
Yeah.
going to?
if they do, yes. Yeah, I don't know. I think that might just have been a pie in the sky drawing. Not sure that's really
Yes.
a for real one.
And then that wouldn't be part of Preservation Commission either.
Right.
Flower baskets or maintenance of those, or anything like that.
Yeah, shimmy up those poles.
Isn't like isn't it like tree and beautification, isn't like
Yeah,
beautification part of
beautification
the?
board,
There
that's
you
them.
go. That sounds like
We
it.
can get that long hose that goes up there.
All right, so next discussion item is the Millwood Register of Historic Places. And I'm not sure all the things that we might want to address with this. Reminder, we have 2 properties on the local register. One business, 1 residence. There's been talk, I think, of a couple more properties. With Bobby and Barbara maybe doing some research. I'm thinking of submitting their properties. Other than that, I don't know if anybody has expressed any interest. We do have all the forms and the procedure set when we had the grant through the State Department of Historic Preservation. We worked with Katie on coming up with the paperwork. So anything that, I think it's on the website, I think we have the print copies, the copies that are in this package. It's not like we have to review those or approve or anything like that. I think those are still.
Yeah, I just put them in there just for reference,
That's great.
just to have them in there. Yeah.
And they're available on the website, right?
Yes.
They're also made available to a local group of people who, in case they were interested. So individual homeowners are aware of these. So I think maybe to jog their memories somehow during May or some other way to say, if you want to get in your application, this would be a great time to do it. You know what you know about your home. I think what's intimidating is if you read the Rosebush House nomination, it's all the architectural, extremely detailed verbiage. And I think people don't know where to find that, like, I don't know what kind of shingles I have, or, so maybe some way to, well, the resource book might help with that in part, but specific to specific houses, the shiplap and who's got what, I think it would be nice to be able to say, oh, here's where you go to find this information about your own house.
Yes.
So the county, maybe, does the county have that, or have you ever looked enough to see that your house?
Well, they just had to walk me through it. We were gonna do all this together.
Okay, we should let Bobby do a presentation, a special presentation.
We'll get her on that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy.
Do we have the, like, kind of the why, like, why should you get your house on the,
Oh, at the 100-year mark, is that?
That's part of it.
but what's the incentive to the homeowner?
Hang on, just one moment.
Tax valuation.
Yeah, we've got it in there. We got it right out of the. Property owners may qualify for an exemption for a portion of property tax on improvements to historic properties. To be eligible for the tax break, the property must be on the Millwood Register of Historic Places or be a contributing property in a designated historic district. The rehabilitation work must be at least 25% of the assessed value of the building prior to the work. The work must be done in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation, and the improvements must have been completed within 24 months of the application.
I mean, I feel like any campaigning we do, that needs to be the headline, right? Like save money on taxes, get your home on the National Historic, or
Do
on the
your
Millwood
work.
Historic
Do your work
Register.
in 2 years, get your money, get organized and do it.
Thinking about working on your historic home in Millwood, get on the historic register to save money. Like, I feel like the incentive, if we take it to the public, the incentive needs to be first and foremost, like in the front of the mind, because otherwise I don't think people are gonna care at all.
Historic is motivated.
Yeah, like they either care about it and they want to do it of their own accord, but if we're trying to get people who don't necessarily care or have that awareness, I think that's what we need to lead
Yeah, I
with.
think so. Because that's always the first question, is what's in it for me? Or
Right.
Do I save money? So.
Because I'm not gonna just go online and fill out a form for fun.
A very big form, just.
A great form. And then I do feel like, I know that we can't, we can't help them with their application, but we can consult them.
We can consult, but we can't do it for them, because then
Right.
there'd be a conflict of interest, because we're the ones reviewing it.
Right. So,
We can encourage homeowners.
So if Barbara's doing hers, she would have to abstain from any votes, but then we'd still have a quorum, so.
right.
So we could send a flyer to the historic homeowners.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do we have the data on the homes and what years they were built within the Millwood?
There are, and I do think, visibility is a big factor. That first, people don't know that we have a local register. They don't know that there's tax property. When I presented at the council meeting, it seemed to be a surprise to everybody. So there are things with the upcoming centennial, as well as May is Historic Preservation Month. Like Annie was saying, there are ways to get the word out. I think before we stopped meeting, we had attempted, and maybe Lisa, you know this, we were trying to send a letter to every property owner within the historic district, just letting them know that you live in a historic area, if you need any assistance. We're here to help. And if they did live in a centennial property, so a property that was 100 years old, they could also request as that decal that we came up with, as well as a certificate. So I guess the question was, did that letter go out? And was there any response from it?
I am unaware. I don't know.
Okay.
It wouldn't hurt to just do it again.
I think the signs, getting the signs up, I feel like would really help spread the word that there is a historic district.
Right.
Because right now it's just kind of like word of mouth that there's a historic district. So I think if we could bring, if we're going to have a historic district, I think we should have signs denoting the historic district.
Well, we have one. just needs to be.
like street signs, so that when you're walking around, it says like part of the Millwood Historic District, and when you're on I-90, it's like Historic District. Like when you're going on I-90 to Wallace, and they have the street.
Yeah.
So
Actually, that one,
I think that was the project that we were really kind of working on previously, and if that's, I feel like that is part of Millwood Register of Historic Places in my perspective, because that's raising awareness for that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that needs to be like actioned upon for our next meeting, and I'm happy to spearhead that or contact sign companies or whatever the next steps need to be. I don't know what the budget situation is. I don't know what our budget is.
That would be another question for
find out what they
the
cost,
mayor.
and then that would be our budget.
Yeah.
Well, before we stopped meeting, Christina was saying that the mayor was talking about setting aside certain line items for the commissions like us to be able to work with. But
We can find out the budgeting side.
Yeah.
On the signage side, I think it would be, probably the best step would be, because we have procurement rules that we have to follow. If there was some design thoughts in terms of what the signage should look like, staff can go through the procurement processes and kind of start vetting out what those costs would be.
Okay.
But following on your topic, what sounds like a good agenda item for the March meeting is like a Historic Preservation Commission outreach agenda item. And we were writing notes back and forth in terms of the newsletters that go out, which goes out to all city residents. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think you can have folks over here that know folks over here and say, have you thought about, and it just further reinforces the historic preservation theme of what you're doing and what's codified in the code and what, identifier for the city, so.
And then I know that we have the 100 centennial sticker. Is that in our, is that in our historic places register, that we only acknowledge places that are 100 years old, or is that just kind of our own sort of?
it was just our own thing, that we wanted to raise awareness, that we're getting close to the centennial, we wanted to recognize people that own these properties. And
Because a way to kind of increase awareness might be also to expand it to like do a 75-year, an 85-year, and kind of like, so that people are like, oh, I got my 75-year sticker, and next up is 85. Like, can you believe it? Because I'm thinking in my head, my house is almost at that 75 years, and I would love to have, and there's probably a lot of homes that are hitting that 75-year mid-century.
Yeah, I'm getting all excited.
Yeah.
'Cause my house is
So,
close to that.
because then that starts creating incentive and ideas like, oh gosh, in 25 years this will really be something worth preserving, rather than because 75 years is kind of that like in between zone where it kind of feels old but not quite old enough. So we, in order to kind of expand our awareness and expand interest, we may want to look at expanding that kind of campaign.
Yeah, that's good.
There was a lot of that post-World War II building boom.
And then,
One thing I wanted to suggest about the I-90 sign on I-90, when I was lived in Superior, Montana for a couple of years, which is the home of the Mineral County Museum, and I suggested we get a road sign, for Mineral County Museum, turn exit 42. And nothing happened, and then I thought, well, I'll just write to the Department of Transportation and see, we need to have one of those brown signs. Brown indicates, historic artifacts. And about 2 years later, when I was living back over here, I drove by, and there was my sign that I demanded. So Department of Transportation or the county would be good to talk to.
And then they pay for it?
Oh, yeah, we didn't pay for it.
so if that could be kind of looped into the sign conversation, and
yeah, we could hit all those points. Also, the Mother's Day tour from the MAC is going to be of Millwood. Is that correct?
Yes.
So there are some things that we can do or have available out visible when people are that usually attracts thousands of people. So yeah, we'll want to talk about that next month for sure, what we can do.
As an action item on the agenda.
So the action item for next work session will be visibility of the Preservation Commission, the local register. Needed items for that.
There's another elephant in the room out there. The housing development on Empire, I believe, was plotted about the same time as the historic district, but they were just bigger lots so people could have huge gardens and animals. So there should be some sort of a sign to designate that area. What was that area called early on?
Grandview Acres,
Grandview Acres.
or,
Yeah.
is the Hooker edition over there?
I want that sign.
You want that Hooker edition?
That's for you,
That's
isn't
where
it?
I live, yes. Yes, I do.
And we need Grandview and Hooker.
Yeah.
At any rate, there should be a
Okay.
historic, because it's just as historic, like Barbara said, it's where the small farms, where that was one of the early incentives to get people to move to Millwood. And they could hop on the train and just be down Spokane in 20 minutes.
And where's the physical location at?
Pardon?
It's over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
all
you
the
go
way
on
to,
Empire, that's.
To
Takes you
Butler,
longer to
Ballard.
get to downtown now than it does on the train.
That'd be nice.
Yeah,
Depending on time of day, for
yeah,
sure.
that's right.
Would be.
Does anyone want to go downtown?
All right, well, Lisa, I wrote the letter that we were sending to the property owners for the historic district, so
Okay.
I will pull that up and then I'll get with you about
good.
what it would take to resend it.
Okay.
We could also check
Do you
with-
have an address list for the historic area?
We do have the boundaries.
Okay.
And
Can we add, in order to ensure the future of the Wood Register of Historic Places and documentation of thereof, maybe we could have it as an action item on the next meeting to like take note of what data information we do have ownership over and what ones we need to create and where we're going to store them and how we're going to manage these resources. Is that something we can?
yeah, because I know we weren't asked when we were developing this letter, because it was kind of like, that's something the staff could do, and that they had those addresses. But
If we have the boundaries, we can pull the addresses.
geofencing from
Ish.
the database, but
Yeah.
if that's not true, then that could come back to us and we could identify them and make the list.
Bias is not as friendly as one will think.
Oh.
Yeah, but our software for,
I know the library,
it's not as friendly. I can get it, but it's gonna be a lot manual too.
because I know the library has resources for things like pulling up address lists and things like that, so it might be easier for us to go through the library rather than having the city do it, if it's,
And that's something I know nothing about either way.
I can see what I can call, I'd have to call them and see what they can do as far as skinnying it down to just that, because it's all just our, it's the billing software
yeah.
is what we have. I'm not sure what their capabilities are as far as giving you a, this, can you give me all the
Anything
addresses
within
here?
these rows.
So, I mean, I can
Because-
physically do it manually,
Because most mailing addresses are divided up by the zip code instead of the physical boundary.
yeah, which is 212 over there, 206
Yeah.
over here.
But I do know that the library, because I approached them as a small business, they do have resources for businesses where you can pull for direct mail, like lists that you want to send out. So I would imagine that you could apply that software to this, since it's also our own version of direct mail.
Yeah, that's right, I do have, okay, I might be able to do it
Direct
a little
mail
bit
list.
easier than I thought of. I just thought of a mailing list that I created mostly by hand. The,
It's still there, except for that one.
It is still there, so yeah, I could probably We'll get
Because I think it would be better for the letter, like they were saying, to go out to the whole city of Millwood rather than just within the historic district, so that way it raises awareness.
Oh, you want the whole letter to go?
Well, I would say the
Then we can just put it
letter
in the
would
news-
target the historic district, but we could put something in the next
Newsletter.
newsletter
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
every.
That goes in the
Yes,
village.
yes.
That's good.
And then for mailing out the letter, does that come out of like the city budget or does that come out of our?
Well, that's what
They're
Brian,
already being mailed, yeah, the newsletter goes
Newsletter
out.
would just.
Right, the
be
newsletter's
city.
already being mailed, but if we,
The other
in
one-
addition to that, if we also wanted to do a letter that was specifically targeting the homes that, or the residences that were within the district.
the historic district.
I suspect the city can find budget
Postage.
room for it, yeah, it's probably, the postage isn't gonna be that expensive, probably, for a targeted mailer of
Let's
that
look up maybe
size.
over there.
Few blocks.
And then,
But you were gonna check with the mayor
That's
about.
what checking, yeah, making notes
Yeah.
on
So we'll
all
find
of them in the,
we could, I mean, cause we could even probably pull up there's enough tools that we could even almost see how many people in the last year and a half have even purchased in the historic district. Just to get a sense of how many new people are in there versus people who have been there for a time and maybe have awareness of it already. I feel like maybe doing a booth or something like having us in May, pushing
Yeah.
Pushing
We've
that
had
would probably
booths
be
at farmers
purchase.
markets and at the Millwood Days,
Mhm.
but again, it's been a couple of years. And I would even say that people that may have lived in the district for a long time don't know that there's
Right.
a local register and what.
If there were signs up there, they would be like, of course I know I live here in the historic district. The
And I
sign.
think if we can, piggyback onto that walking tour, we'll have a booklet that would have a lot of the historic structures there with the history and background that could generate some enthusiasm and say, why wasn't I on it? Or how can I get more exposure for my building or something like that. So we can address and start talking more next month's meeting. But yeah,
Yeah, we have a map of the historic district that shows all the buildings.
yes.
So they would see, if we use that map, they would see their house.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe we should target all this for May then?
Well, May is Historic Preservation Month,
Okay,
so that would
with
certainly,
things going
and
on.
that would
It's
be
a
the
reasonable amount of time to
Yeah,
get
and the
stuff
Mother's Day.
together.
Plus there's events I know going on at a lot of the schools in May, like there's the high school has the, that's why I missed the May 18th meeting in 2023. They have, the high school has like their community night. And so they invite all the community partners and schools and everything to have a big community night in the high school. Anyone else know? Okay. So yeah, the West Valley High School has a big community night. It usually takes place in May, around May 18th. And I think that could be, that's a time when a lot of families are coming through the high school. All the elementary schools have a booth, all the middle schools have a booth, all the communities, programming in schools, partnerships have booths. I think that's, if you want to talk about connecting with like younger families and raising awareness, that could be a way to do it with that. Because I feel like a lot of times the younger families are sometimes they're the active one, like they're participating in the community, but they're so busy.
That's
They
a West
have
Valley.
small children.
Yeah.
That's a West Valley.
Yeah, so West Valley High School puts it
Probably should,
on.
contact them right away, because sometimes these events are planned months and months in advance.
Well, and that's an area that I could really see, because I see in our notes, we had previously talked about like bringing in high
Yeah,
school,
schools.
something like that, but I feel like this could maybe, it could be a good first step where
That's
we
a
can
good
even reach
focus.
out and connect with a high school teacher and talk about like working with a high school class to have a booth about Millwood history to kind of help the youth realize what an important role they play in this little town.
Well, if you've got a contact, or if you did it last year, or know who was organizing it.
I think, yes, I serve on the PTO of the Orchard Center Elementary, so I think I can bring it up with them at their March meeting, and I can,
Let us.
Great.
it's too involved.
We're no better.
All right, and I know time-wise, think we're still doing well with time. But any other discussion on Millwood Historic Places? I mean, the local register will certainly put it on the agenda to talk more about raising visibility next month.
Yeah, I would like to have something on the agenda for next month though about like looking at what assets we do have for the historic like the videos, any lists that we have. I know we paid $6,000 to the media company for those videos.
They're on the website.
Yeah, so I just wanna make sure that like we have records of all of that. Beyond just having it live on the website. Like,
So we've got digital copy. So if we wanted to go in and make our own edits or take snippets out to put together.
I just think it would
I
be
don't
good
know
for
what
us to,
Do you have that?
yeah, so that conversation is why I would like us to have a conversation next meeting on how to manage our commission's assets. Digitally or otherwise.
And
We can probably reach out to the media company that produced them. They probably have an archive of them and we can probably get them, but I would just like for us to have a plan
We have
keep
those
these.
somewhere, and we have a format that they were gonna give us so that we could just do, Barbara's house or and more houses.
right, we did request to have the, a digital resource of those that was editable for us to use. But where that is and where it
Well,
ended up when
we
Christine
contacted
left.
them, they were good. to
Yeah.
work with.
Well, that's a lot of times if you've lost, like if you had professional photos or videos done, you can reach out to them and be like, I'm so sorry, I lost this. Do you have this still? And a lot of
Well,
times
we
they'll be
never
like,
had it, so they would have it.
perfect, then that's a
Well,
good reason to reach out.
We don't know what Christina had or not.
That's
And
right.
it's obviously, you guys don't know
Yeah.
what she may have asked for or not. And then there was Tribe Media, whatever, there was a video with Shireen.
Oh, and
I
that didn't get
don't know
used.
that was on the website or if I've ever seen it, because that was gonna be the last one that they did with the rest of our,
I think it's
Grant
on
money.
there.
is it?
I think so.
I don't
I've
remember
seen-
seeing it. There's just the 3 on there that I know of on the website.
Where did I see it then?
Bobby, Vicky, and
Mary Pat.
Mary Beth.
Yeah, those
Those
are
are
the only
really
ones I know. I'm
I
aware
saw
of.
Shireen's somewhere. Where did I see it?
Well, she's down in California, I think. Or maybe she just
No,
got
I
back.
mean, I saw the
on the
video.
interview.
Oh,
Well, where would it be? Where would I have
So
seen
that-
it?
Might be something,
she wears so many hats.
See online,
Resource guide.
on the city website, I thought.
Is it up to us to manage the website and kind of like the communications, or is that something the city sort of manages?
I mean, I think
What's the law say?
content-wise, it's nice to have, input on content, but we have someone to put things on there and manage those. And yeah, the city would have to have the approval of what goes on there. But content is
Yeah.
appreciated.
If you develop the content, the city has to maintain the website both, primarily because of the archiving of public records requirements. And then it would also be the city's expenditure, not outside of a HPC budget, but just their website budget as well, so.
So then would it be appropriate for us to learn how the data is managed on the website so that we can make sure that it's like that we have access to it indefinitely and that's a change in staff doesn't mean that we lose access to?
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna try to figure out is where those assets are stored and where they're being maintained, yeah.
Also, I sent an email, Lisa, you might remember, because it was like probably too much for you to think about, but it was like all the typos on the historic.
Yeah, if you want to correct those and get those to
So,
me,
yeah, well, I sent them, but you weren't gonna do it. And so somebody was going to correct them, but we didn't have the person yet or something. It was a long time ago.
we still don't have a person. It
So
would
we
be,
have a
you know,
plan.
I don't have a plan for that, no.
Okay.
No plan for that.
At some point, someone could go in and make those corrections. I could do it.
so we're talking on the website.
Yeah,
guys have to do it.
I would,
have to
to
do?
your website.
Okay.
Right, and I would propose that that be a special work
yeah.
session.
I mean,
Maybe either
Yeah.
meeting or a special work where we just
Right, right,
focus
right,
on
Right.
the website, our content.
Okay, well, that stuff's done.
Here are the typos that you
But-
have.
but-
Yeah,
I found the letter.
already
Yeah,
sent those
okay.
in.
That's the letter.
So
But it could
that's,
be
so we need
something
a
that we have to-
person,
But I.
so what we
was
need
wondering
is
about-
a staff person who will upload our stuff to the website, is that right?
Well, I think what Lisa's looking for, if you could resend to her the typos or what you've identified needs to be revised, we can have the website company fix that. The city will
Okay.
have, the city will have to initiate that to the,
Got it.
what are they, the provider? I don't
The
know.
vendor?
Yeah, whoever maintains that.
The
Figure
provi-
out content.
Okay,
Yeah, we'd have-
it's on the
we'll
city to
volunteer.
fix it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't want typos on
Yeah.
the website.
Are we still on action item 3D?
Correct.
Is this still technically where we're at? For the resource guide, I think that's where this fits in. I think so.
Well, it's not really on the agenda.
I know, that's why I'm trying to get it into the agenda.
Well, the only thing I'll say about the resource guide is that we wanted everyone to have a copy to review so that we can do more discussion
So
at
next
a
week,
future
the next
meeting. Amanda did review it for us because over December, January, Annie and I were meeting and we were doing some work on it. We showed it to Amanda. And Amanda was saying that the city is in the process of updating its comp plan. And she recommended that we don't adopt the resource guide until the comp plan was finalized because then there could be changes in how permits are issued and all of that we were touching on in the resource guide that could date it. And so they wanted, but the comp plan isn't going to be changed and adopted till 2026. So that
Okay.
still gives us a year to, can we at least pull the historic preservation information from the resource guide that could help property owners now without it being a finalized document that might have information on things that
Permitting.
doesn't conflict with the comp plan.
Well, that's why we went, A was, do you need a permit? And we had a whole bunch of verbiage in there. So now it's
Yeah.
contact City Hall to see if the work on your property requires a permit. Feel free to attend meetings at the Historic Preservation Commission. Boom. And then on to the next thing.
Is there, so basically we need something in there that identifies that as like just purely an informational guideline for homeowners specific to this area and not to be used in the permitting process? Even though the intention of it is to be used
So
during the permitting process?
yeah, so I think the first thing would be for you guys who haven't had a chance to review it. And then we can discuss how that might conflict with anything that's going on in the comp plan or not, or do we want to wait or not, so that we can incorporate more of the permit process and
You gotta
And-
issue contraband editions of the.
Well, when there
resource
are links in there, are those linked out to just like Wikipedia pages or?
various.
Because I guess that would also be kind of my concern, if our resource has resources in it that are linked out that aren't necessarily like educational, academic, like based resources, like a Wikipedia page isn't an academic based resource
something that could
page.
go
Why
away.
don't you look over each single link?
That's what
There's
I'm
about
wondering if we
80
need
of
to
them.
do,
So why
right?
don't you do that, and you can decide if they're academic enough.
Well, if we're gonna use this as an official document
Go ahead.
with
Check
the
it out.
links and everything.
But I found the
it would
ones that
make-
were the most, the best descriptions in vernacular language, that were the most useful to the people living in Millwood who are connected. So yeah, absolutely, go through it.
Because if this is gonna be an online document, my anticipation of people interacting with this is gonna be through the internet, and I think most people are gonna be clicking those links rather than it being printed out, so I just think it needs to be,
Well, the links are
And
there.
yeah, this is a topic that would be its own topic at a future meeting, I think.
okay.
But then this gives you a chance at least,
To look at it.
you'll.
Right, well, cause I'm not gonna be able
So
to
we
click
can
on the
address
links if it's a physical.
No, we'll send.
But we'll
I'll
send
send
it,
it to Lisa.
which is another reminder, is that everybody has their city Millwood email account, and you should be checking those because Lisa will be sending things, agendas for meetings,
Yes,
reminders of
and
meetings.
Brian's gonna go over that, how important that is.
So I should send this to you, and then you, as the chair, and then you send it to Lisa, and then Lisa distributes it.
Send it directly to Lisa.
Yeah,
Via the Millwood email.
Yes,
Mhm. Yeah, using the Millwood,
yes. So for public records purposes, it is very important that you communicate with the city on city matters through your city email.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if there ever were a public records request, all of your personal things are going to be subject to,
could be.
could be subject to
Mhm.
public records. So that's why it's very important to always just use your city email to email Barbara.
if you wanna stay later to figure that out.
I need to stay later and figure that out too, because I also haven't been able to successfully get onto my email as well, so.
For this meeting, there was a little envelopes outside the Outlook box that I go to. And I just clicked on it and I saw the agenda. But as far as getting into it, I don't know my password.
So,
Well, it's all the same, we're all not the same password, but the same initials, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't.
is the purpose of this resource guide, like I own a home, it's 100 years old, I wanna get it on the register, is this meant to help me go through this application? Is that the idea behind it?
No.
The
Okay,
resource guide is only to assist people to find resources if they're looking into doing work on a historic property. It doesn't have anything to do with the local.
so does it,
unless they choose it to be.
so,
For example.
yes, I would love an
But
example.
let's, I know we're running out of time, so let's talk about this more at our next meeting after you guys get a chance to look at it. And
I
then,
guess I would need to understand what's purpose it's being served
and the
before I.
It's in the
purpose was in the book.
Okay,
So you'll email that digital copy to Lisa,
Lisa.
Lisa will send it out there, you guys need to figure out how to get access to it. Or,
You will send it to their Millwood email, and then they will open it, and they will read it. And notice my many hours and hours of work.
which are very appreciated.
Right, okay. Let's move
Keeping in
on.
mind, she can send you the email, but none of you should be communicating
Correct.
Right.
amongst yourselves as well
Yeah,
via
without-
the email.
So about the document.
Well, or, I mean, about
anything.
anything official city business, which for you would be anything related to historic preservation. Yeah,
If more than 3 of us talk about it, it's a meeting.
well, even if Barbara sends Annie an email and then Annie sends you an email, that's still,
Yeah.
that's still a violation. So really, the preference is to allow the city to communicate and send informational emails to you, but for you to not communicate amongst yourselves with it. Now, if you need information from Lisa, phone, email, something like that. But yeah, the email's great and it's dangerous at the same time, so.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to E, the Millwood racially restrictive covenants, which again, something that our commission has not addressed before. So is that something that is being discussed in planning commission or the?
That was something that Amanda discovered when during this periodic update, she was at a meeting and it was the Cheney Research Project. And they just compiled all their information and it was presented at this meeting that she was at. And so that's when she learned of it. Mayor Freeman just thought it might be something to bring to you guys to discuss and possibly work on maybe letting people know how to go about,
Yeah.
removing those, or maybe that's a process to get into, I don't know. Anyway,
Well, the county has a really nice, simple, dedicated website covering all the properties in the county. I printed it out. That talks about the law in 2018 that was amended It's actually been, the covenants have been restricted in Washington even before that. But the county actually has how to file a restrictive covenant modification, either for an individual or a business owner. And I think the assessor's office actually prefers that those within the county use the county's preferred form because it's been vetted and accepted. But there is a really good resource already on the county website for how to do that. I don't know. It's just going to be a matter of how to pursue the communication, line of communication on that.
So it's not as simple as the city purging from the.
So, yeah, right, it's like who does the work?
Each property owner only the property owner can pursue removing the illegal covenant on the property.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Does it
Each
have,
owner has the what?
Each property owner, only the property owner has the right
The right.
to
Oh,
remove
okay.
the covenant off their property.
You
The
can't
city,
shame your neighbors into.
yeah, the city can't do it, the county can't do it. Actually, there was some litigation where a property owner on the South Hill didn't want to file the documentation and tried to get the county to remove it. And this was, I think it was resolved a few years ago, but the court determined that the county doesn't even have the authority to do it, even though it's illegal. It can't be recognized, it can't be enforced, but they can't remove it off of title to property without the property owner actually taking the affirmative steps of filing the covenant modification.
so I do see the hooker addition is restricted.
Yes.
But it's, me as a property owner there, if I do all of this, it just removes my property.
Just
So I
your-
would have to go to every neighbor to awareness.
So the awareness could be
So
a
I-
campaign
I'm not
that we could
Yeah.
lead.
I don't either.
I'm not 100% sure if what Kevin's, or Mayor Freeman's intent was to, if it was just to bring it to your awareness, or if he wanted, you as a commission to pursue anything about it. I don't know legally if that is something we want to, is that, I don't know, bring it forth to people, is that going to be, I don't know. So anyway, I just kind of too.
I think it's important to raise awareness that those still exist in the city of Millwood and that there are ways to address it. Whether it's within our purview as the Preservation Commission, it's not, it really isn't, but
Well, there's something about, were rendered illegal by the Fair Housing Act of 1968, but they still exist in the covenants, or,
Yeah.
whatever, so. It hasn't been handled, so I'd love to get it on.
I wonder if anyone has ever recently
Yeah,
tried to act on it.
right. We
Tried
don't
to
know how.
actually-
It's illegal.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
still
you couldn't enforce it as a property owner.
there. Yeah.
Or, in terms of trying to sell your property, it would be an unlawful restriction. It's just a matter of, I think, and the other part is the county has actually waived I think they've waived the recording costs for these as well. So the property owner doesn't have to incur the cost to record the document, the modification document as well. Yeah,
What a waste of words.
so I think it's.
So it wouldn't be on any property covenant, like it wouldn't be present after 1986 or 1968, I mean.
Well, it could be. There's things that get recorded on
Right.
title that are just baffling at times. It could be, just wouldn't be enforceable.
So I guess the historic commission aspect of it would basically be like this was a historic, like this was done historically in this region.
right, and it's good to have the record of it.
And
But we really, want people to know that there are ways to change it individually.
I think it'd be very validating for the students, because I read about it in the Eastern newsletter and the Eastern magazine and on my Eastern group online, and to let them know that we're actually taking action on all their hard work and all their meticulous documenting of what properties had this covenant. I think that would be really another good outreach that we'd be doing. So, yeah, I think it's good that I'm glad it's on the agenda.
yeah, I feel like it can fall into the raising awareness of historic properties and managing historic
think I remember reading this when I bought my house, going, what, this still
Yeah.
exists? What am I?
So it actually is on like the title search when you buy a house that has that, it would be somewhere
Yeah.
on all
Yeah.
those thousands of papers that you actually.
Because there's a covenant associated with it, so you get those
I
and
wonder
like,
how many times people read it, just don't
Oh,
even.
you don't
see
read
it,
'em.
Don't even read it.
Yeah.
You just sign your, you're signing.
You're just signing, yeah,
Can't sign here.
yeah,
At the title office.
right, yeah, initial.
well, we'll keep that on the agenda. All right, so that concludes our action items for discussions. Next on the agenda, reports. Do we have any reports? Just as something that you sent out to our emails just this afternoon, or was it yesterday? I don't know, but there is a webinar that will talk about the mayor was just raising awareness for design standards. That would be next Wednesday, or this Wednesday.
This Wednesday.
This Wednesday.
Yes, that was in your city email, about, it's through MRSC, and it's a webinar on design standards. And if you're interested, email me and I will register you for the webinar. It is the 13th at noon. And I have to have all registered people interested. I need to know by tomorrow, around 3:00.
So the webinar itself is in there.
It's online.
Which I have a conflict on Wednesdays. So if anybody
I'll try to go,
could.
I'll check out.
Yeah.
Maybe keep it cracked open so it looks like an open meeting, yeah. Actually, I had a client, yeah, I had a client that had an audit finding years ago because they would close their meeting room
On
door.
audit, yeah.
Yeah.
Close the door on an open door meeting.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yes, so, yeah, all the information is there to see if it's anything. It's kind of part of I don't think it's really part of the periodic update. It was just something that Kevin saw that he thought, given the periodic update is coming and all the legislation that's being, it will cover all of the House bills and all those things regarding the density and lot size and changes that are going to be required due to those bills. So there's a lot of that in it. So just offering it up.
Who's the targeted audience for this?
I guess any
Everybody.
elected or appointed officials, because it's going to be a big change to the city as far as the look of everything is going to change quite a bit when we have to allow for way smaller lot sizes and heavier density and ADUs and all this backfill. It impacts, and you'll be hearing a lot, I'm sure, from citizens about, why are you allowing this? Why are you doing this to us? Why do we have to,
Because there'll be more multifamily.
because we don't have a choice.
Instead of single family.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
So,
Which could impact a historic district.
yes, and it can be done in a lot of different ways, as Amanda has been presenting at the Planning Commission for the periodic update. There's a lot of information on that, and there's also her page on the website is very informative. She keeps it updated constantly about what's going on regarding the periodic update and the schedule. So she goes over that a lot. So this density that we're going to have to absorb can be managed in several different ways. And this, taking this course may help you to realize or understand different ways to accomplish the requirements. This is my understanding of it.
Mhm.
Is that yours?
Yeah, no, it's the county actually has gone through and done their inventory of and allocated how many different additional housing units should be the targeted goal in each community. I can't recall what ours was, but it was significant. Yeah, that's
60?
160 new
160.
housing units in Millwood, and you're trying to figure out where, right?
Not in my backyard.
Yeah, well, the only way it gets there is if single-family housing now is allowed, or, multifamily housing is allowed on, historic single-family housing parcels, right? So, I would say this is a really, Millwood's pretty fortunate to have somebody as experienced as Amanda to be guiding through this process. This legislation, this legislative rollout from last year is highly technical, highly political as well, and in this county in particular, it's got the potential to be divisive. When, you know, the legislature's goal is we need more housing options, right? That's a great goal. How do you get there? There's a lot of flexibility for each jurisdiction how to get there. So, yeah.
All right, for the sake of time, because I know public remarks, there's nobody here. I don't know if anybody's online to make remarks, but see none. Any remarks from commission? Announcements? Probably that's
It was
that
just,
webinar.
yeah, and
Yeah, that was
the
it.
new format, we're trying to get all of the boards and commissions to be somewhat the same as far as formatting. So some of these probably don't apply, but we're just trying to keep them in line
Yeah.
with, so everybody kind of looks similar.
Which is good, because you never know, things come up. All right, so we have set our next meeting, which would be March 10th at 2 o'clock here in this room. And with that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Stand adjourned.